Hi, I'm Cathy Neptune and welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to share with you this evening tips, tools, and recipes to make your time in the kitchen fun, fast, and fabulous. You're going to love these recipes. And we're well into summer now, light eating, healthy eating, a lot of veggies, few fruits, and I think you're going to love the recipes for this. Don't forget to email me. Thank you to everybody who emails me with your questions and suggestions, and you can get recipes online from me at this website, and also how to get some of these wonderful tools. So we're going to do this evening an asparagus and roasted tomato feta salad. So we're going to start out by roasting our cherry tomatoes, and I have a small bar pan here. And I'm going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil. And everybody I've heard from, they're loving their stoneware. It just makes for even cooking in the oven. So I'm going to put a little coating of olive oil on the bottom. And here's a great technique, a little bit of salt in there. And then look at these beautiful tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, all different colors. I'm just going to drop those in. You don't need a lot. This will probably serve 2 or 3 people. And you just roll them around. And you can see they get nicely coated. And the great thing about using a bar pan is you don't have to turn these over. I have my oven preheated at 400 degrees. And I'm going to pop these into the oven until they get kind of caramelized. Probably 15, 20 minutes, depending on how you like them. So these are going in. And that oven is very hot. So that's a great technique, too. I think I've mentioned before, I always do a lot of cherry tomatoes roasted like that. And you can double the batch in the roasted tomatoes. Wonderful in bruschetta and pasta salads, on a sandwich. It's just a great technique in the cherry tomatoes especially, because all the different colors have all their own unique flavors, and blended together, roasting them in the oven makes them very, very sweet, almost like candy. You're going to love that technique. So while those are roasting, we're going to work on our salad part with the asparagus. Now here's a great technique to do when you're roasting asparagus. I know some of you probably think that asparagus can be tough, so let's just take an extra step and peel them. It's no big deal, just get a peeler, and you don't have to get them exactly right. But they do much better. It takes that tough skin off the edge, and then we want to take this tough stem off the end of these. You can see where they're all kind of woody, and you don't want that in the pan. So here's the technique. You hold your asparagus like that and you break it, and that's the section that you want to take and trim all your asparagus, get them all nice and even on the bottom like so. And that's kind of your mark of you want to trim all these about that much, because they're harvested at just about the same spot. So all your asparagus are done. And I have some salted boiling water on the back burner here. And we're going to just blanch these until they're tender. And we're going to put them into the boiling salted water for about 3 minutes or so until they're just tender, crisp. You don't want them mushy, because after all, this is a salad, so you want some kind of texture on your salad. You could also roast these in the oven, but I like the contrast of textures with the crunchy asparagus, the roasted tomatoes, and then on top we're going to add some wonderful feta cheese and some fresh herbs. So we have that going, and we'll put that aside for now. And then I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We have some seafood, and I'm going to use swordfish tonight. You can do this technique with some nice tilapia, flounder. If you use a flounder or a sole, a gray sole, they're thinner on the ends. You want to tuck the ends underneath. But tonight, for our seafood, I have this wonderful fresh swordfish. And I have let that set out on the counter for about half an hour so that it'll be nice and room temperature, because it's all about the technique in doing this. You don't want a chilled, iced fish. Just like we do with steaks too, I've taken both sides of the swordfish and I've patted it dry on both sides. Very important to get a nice sear on your swordfish or any fish that you're using. Look at how beautiful that is. And I'm going to lightly salt it and maybe a little bit of pepper over here. And our cast iron, I love to use a cast iron skillet, and I'll tell you why. We're going to be popping this in the 400-degree oven, and we're going to sear it on both sides and then check it after about 6 minutes in the oven. And what you want to see is that the fish is flaking. Now, if you had, this is probably an inch thick. If you had a thicker piece of swordfish, of course, you would do probably check it after 7 to 8 minutes accordingly. But a good inch thick is a nice size to have, and it won't be very dry when you're finished. So our skillet is heating. Cast iron is, I'll tell you, if you don't have a cast iron skillet, you can get them anywhere. And you don't put those in the dishwasher or ever use soap on them. I know it sounds strange, but if you oil them, and usually if I have my oven on, I'll gently wash or rinse out my skillet, and if it's well seasoned with oil, you can really clean it well. And then I just pop it into the oven after I've turned the oven off, and it'll dry itself, and it won't get rusted or corroded. And you always have a well-seasoned pan to start from. So it's a good thing to have in your kitchen. So I'm going to add, a skillet is nice and hot. Make sure you heat your skillet first. Hot pan, cold oil, foods won't stick. So we're going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil. Nothing fancy, but flavor. And you just want a very, very small amount. We're not going to deep fry this fish. We're just going to sear it on both sides. And I'm going to take my seasonings with me. Give the pan a chance to heat up, bring up to temperature, so that you should be able to hear this sizzle in the pan without splattering. So be very careful when you put it in the pan. There's just a small amount of oil, but because we dried the fish, it should not splatter as much. So this here looks pretty darn, it's very hot. So we're going to put this in. Let's see if we did this right. I can hear that sizzle. Perfect. A little more salt. A little pepper. And we're going to let that set for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. And then we're going to pop it into the oven and let it check probably after about 6 minutes. When we come back, we're going to start in on our dessert. You're going to love our strawberry soup. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. I want to show you the swordfish that has finished browning on both sides. And we're going to pop this into the 400-degree oven. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? You can see how it's already turning opaque. And our cherry tomatoes are looking really good. Turn that off. And we're going to make, a little bit later, I'm going to make a nice garlic, butter, and lemon sauce to go over our finished swordfish. Right now, I'm going to show you the asparagus. Barely 3 to 4 minutes. Look at how beautiful these are. Beautiful green, bright, but you can see how flexible they are. So they still have a little texture to them. Gorgeous, gorgeous salad. So I'm going to put that on top, like so. And then we're going to dress this a little bit on one side. I like these all going the same way. Arrange them beautifully. And you can, I like to serve this at room temperature. It really, really tastes, you can taste all the wonderful subtle flavors in this. So there we go. That is a beautiful plate. I'm going to put that over here because we're waiting for our cherry tomatoes that are roasting and should be done shortly. I'm going to put the timer on for about, let's do 4 minutes. Oops. Timer, 4 minutes for our swordfish. And then I want to check it because it wasn't that thick, excuse me, a piece of swordfish. And then let's do our garlic butter. I have, this is for our swordfish, and I have just about a tablespoon of melted butter, and I want to add a little bit of olive oil to that, just to make this nice sauce, and probably just a teaspoon of olive oil, so a little more butter than olive oil. What's wrong with that? And we're going to take and press some fresh garlic. And do you know purple garlic is sweeter? If you can get some garlic that has a reddish tone to it, that usually is a little bit less bitter. We're going to take our garlic press and put the garlic inside like so. If you don't have a garlic press, you should have one in your pantry. These are great because you don't have to peel the garlic. So 1 good clove of garlic. And I'm just going to lightly saute this, and you want to be very careful with this. So you don't want to brown the garlic at all because it'll get very bitter. And because we don't have a lot of seasonings in here, you want to be careful not to ruin any of them because there's only a few ingredients to this. And you don't need fancy ingredients. I think that's what I love about these recipes this evening, is because they're simple but very good and seasonal ingredients. You can't go wrong. And you treat them with a little respect and a little kindness, and they always turn out well. So you want to keep an eye on this. You don't want to deep fry your garlic. Not good. So we're just going to simmer that, and it doesn't take very long. And I have some freshly squeezed lemon juice. And I think I mentioned you get about 2 tablespoons of juice from each lemon. So it's a good way to kind of approximate how much you're going to use. And we're going to use this in both recipes this evening for our dessert as well. Also on the asparagus, I want to show you a neat trick that I use. I have an herb garden, and herbs are really weeds. So if you can't grow flowers, you can't grow vegetables, you can grow weeds. And what I do is I take some good olive oil, and I chop up some fresh herbs. I have some parsley, oregano, it's Greek oregano, and some fresh basil in here. And then I press a clove of garlic. And with this, you want to always make sure and keep it refrigerated. You don't want to leave anything like that out on the counter. And you can bring it in up to room temperature. When you put it in the refrigerator, it congeals, but that's okay, because if you let it set at room temperature for a few minutes, even 15 minutes, or stir it gently, you can use these as basting in salad dressings, but you always have something nice and flavorful. And I'm going to put this over our asparagus and tomatoes at the end, so we'll have a lot of good garlic flavor. In fact, I think I'm going to put a little on our warm asparagus so they can infuse with this flavor. And let me show you, just a little bit goes a long way, and it makes them nice and glistening too. So you just drizzle that, much like you would a salad dressing, because after all, this is a salad. And then, as I usually like to do at every step, I like a little bit of salt. And even though I had a tad of salt in the boiling water that I steamed the asparagus, I like to add a little bit more. So you can see our wonderful, wonderful butter and garlic and olive oil. And I'm going to check here. Let me turn the timer off. That would be for our swordfish. And a little bit of fresh lemon juice, probably a teaspoon. And I'm just going to cook this down. Now, if you like wine, you could certainly add a nice light Chardonnay to this. It adds a lovely, deeper flavor. But we're just going to keep it simple this evening. That would be a good company dish with the wine. But if you like it, you can certainly do a little wine as well. So we're just going to let that reduce by just a little bit. And the lemon juice is going to kind of mellow out the effect that the butter and olive oil is going to have on the garlic. It won't tend to burn as easily. It would still burn if you don't watch it, but not as quickly as just the oil would do. So we're going to do our next recipe that I have here is a wonderful chilled strawberry soup. So I'm going to add probably 1.5 cups of sliced strawberries, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it is strawberry season, and this is just another way of using something fresh and local. Let's do about 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice, and always use fresh, and this of course is to taste, so whatever you like in sweetness and so forth you can do and taste as you go. Now this is apple juice. It doesn't have to be apple cider, just regular apple juice. And we're going to add this, of course, will make it into a soup, much as you would add chicken soup, chicken stock to a chicken soup base. You also need a base when you're doing a fruit soup. So, of course, the more you use, the thinner the soup will be. And that's probably 1/2 to 2/3 of a cup. And then in here, I've made a simple syrup, which is basically equal parts of sugar and water that you boil down for about 5 minutes till the sugar melts. And this is your sweetener. So probably 1/4 cup, like so. And then we're going to put the cover on. And that's it, just 4 ingredients. And let's see if we can get this. And we're done. And you can see how well blended this is. It's beautiful color. Let's taste it and see how good we did. And this here, again, according to taste, and you can see the consistency. It's like a gazpacho. It's a little thicker than a sauce would be. That is good. I can taste the apple juice. I can taste the lemon juice. I think a little more sweetener in there. Totally up to taste. Look at the gorgeous color. Now I'm going to leave that right there for a minute and check on our swordfish. I'm all over the place tonight. Our sauce is reducing. That looks pretty darn good. And you can see it does not take very long. And the way we test this is take a fork. Let me see if you can see this. And we want to see if it flakes easily. So let's check this out. Let's see if we got lucky with this. Oh, it's perfect. Can you see? It's cooked all the way through. Very nice. So we're going to put that here. Oops. And our butter is warm. Our soup is done. And I'm going to get everything together. And when we come back, we're going to assemble all the finishing touches of our wonderful summer meal. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. We're finishing up our wonderful summer feast here. And oh, these herbs, like I said, you've got to try some fresh herbs. This is Greek oregano. I have our swordfish done to perfection, and you can see how little time, 4 minutes in the oven, 2 minutes on each side, dinner is done. And then I'm chopping up some fresh oregano and some fresh basil. And our lemon, butter, and olive oil sauce, simple ingredients, that is all done. And then chop up a little bit of parsley to put on the top of that, again from my garden. Fresh herbs. And there's so many fun, different flavored herbs you can get. You can get lemon thyme and ginger mint and orange mint. And my favorite that I'm going to use in a minute, the chocolate mint. It's so good. And remember that little trick that I did one time? Put a slice of lemon in an ice cube tray and put a little bit of mint in there and fill it with water, and you have lemon and mint ice cubes for any kind of tonic water or spritzer or seltzer water. It's so refreshing in the summer. So what I'm going to do, here's our swordfish, and look at our wonderful lemon and garlic and olive oil butter. I'm going to take that and pour it over the swordfish. How good is this going to be? And if you haven't tried swordfish, let me tell you, it is a great, satisfying, meaty fish, if you will. I just think it has a wonderful texture and flavor. And when done in the oven like this, it's just so easy to do. And then we're going to top that with a little parsley. And that is a wonderful main course. And now we're going to do our wonderful asparagus salad. And I think I've mentioned before about all these wonderful infused olive oils. And they're just really a finishing oil. And this is an ambrosia one that has all different herbs, just a light coating. I have a garlic infused olive oil, if you'd like. And then look at our beautiful, beautiful roasted cherry tomatoes at 400 degrees for just barely 15-20 minutes. And these are wonderful, wonderful to have in this type of side dish. They're caramelized, they're sweet, they're colorful, all different flavors, textures, and just beautiful to look at. I'm going to do cubed feta cheese. Let's do that over the top. And it's up to your taste, whatever you'd like. You could certainly do a goat cheese on this if you'd like, and if a little spills over, no big deal. And then here's a great secret to use, to have in your pantry, a balsamic vinegar glaze. Now, I'm just going to take this and generously ribbon it over the top, like so. Doesn't that make a gorgeous platter? And you can find this in the grocery stores, but also you can make your own with a good balsamic vinegar. And you use about 2/3 of a cup with about a tablespoon and a half or 2 tablespoons of regular sugar, and boil it down until it gets to be this thick consistency. And get one of those little squeeze bottles that you use for ketchup or mustard, and make sure and label it, and put your balsamic vinegar in there and keep it refrigerated, and you could do your own homemade balsamic glaze. And if you wanted to do a fruit flavored one, like it comes in all flavors like cherry, mandarin orange, there's an apple cider one, add about a teaspoon of your favorite jam to that process. When you're boiling it down, you have a wonderful fruited balsamic glaze to drizzle over chicken and seafood and just make a gorgeous presentation. I'm also going to add a little bit of fresh basil and that wonderful Greek oregano. And that is a gorgeous asparagus salad or side dish. That you can make a meal out of that on its own. Now I'm going to plate up our beautiful strawberry soup. And I'm just going to take and trim up our strawberries for a garnish. And I put some martini glasses or margarita glasses into the freezer. Look at these. So we have our chilled strawberry soup that we made in the blender. And I did this one the night before so it'd be truly chilled for you. And we're going to pour that. You can see how thick and rich that is. Doesn't that look like summer? You know what another good flavoring is? Do a watermelon soup. And sometimes I sprinkle just a hint of salt on the top. Salt and watermelon. Amazing combinations. You could do a mango one. Equally good are cantaloupe and cucumber soup. Absolutely amazing. And then on top of that, I'm going to grab a little bit of, where did I put my, I'm going to have some chocolate mint here. Oh, here we go. I was hiding. This is just regular Greek vanilla yogurt. This you should have in your pantry at all times because it just enhances everything. And your friends are going to be so impressed by this. And it's not difficult. You can see how easily we did this. And just a little scoop. You want a little bit of that peeking out the top. And you, as you eat this, you can encourage your friends to blend that into the soup for flavor and thickness and creaminess. And this is my fabulous chocolate mint from my garden. You have to grow some of this in your garden. It is absolutely amazing. On the top, and then let's slice, let's do a few little strawberry slices on the top just as a garnish. So everybody knows that it's a strawberry soup. How elegant. Sometimes, too, if I'm feeling really decadent, I do a little bit of Prosecco in here while it's in the blender. And it gives you a wonderful, or a Sauterne wine, or any kind of dessert wine with this to enhance the fruit flavor. It would be just absolutely amazing. So here is our wonderful summer meal. You can add whatever seasoning you'd like to these, whatever garnish with the fresh herbs, but it is going to be spectacular. What a wonderful dinner for two on a special evening or for your special friends. So thank you again for watching. We have our swordfish with herb butter and lemon and garlic. Our wonderful, this here, our steamed asparagus with roasted cherry tomatoes, a wonderful feta cheese, a balsamic glaze, and fresh herbs of oregano and fresh basil. And of course, our strawberry soup that has, it's thinned down with a little bit of apple juice, some sugar syrup, lemon juice, and of course garnished with some yogurt and fresh strawberries and chocolate mint. I hope you try these recipes. Thank you to everyone for your suggestions, your feedback, and your wonderful, wonderful comments. Be sure to send me an email if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. Try these recipes, and may the fork be with you.